Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new season of Assetto Corsa Racing. This is the Audi TT Trophy, making up season 6 of 2025 here at oNiD. Some great club tier front wheel drive machinery to go racing and a format to use as well. 3 15-minute races coming up this evening. A 10-minute qualifying session sets the grid for the first race, 5 minutes for the second, and then we reverse the grid for the third and final race. Our calendar for this evening. We're here at Oulton Park running the island layout for the opening round, same used by the BTCC on their visit to Oulton Park. Then we'll head to another Great British track up north in Scotland, Knockhill, wonderful circuit, most permanently by the Scotsman of the admin team, Stevie Bain. Looking forward to that one. Round 3, we have Road Atlanta as we head over to America, then head to Watkins Glen. Classic short, that means no bus stop chicane, and taking the shorter route used by NASCAR. And then we have Zolder for the penultimate round of track we've enjoyed on ACC. Haven't got to race in a little while since we've taken a little break on ICC, but it's great to bring it over to the original Assetto Corsa and finishing the season with Club Motorsports. A great calendar, great lot of racing and action to come for this season, and joining me for it all is the wonderful Aidan Hard.
Wonderful. I love how you use very nice adjective to describe me. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Indeed, we are here for Assetto Corsa on your Tuesday nights for racing. We again revisit these cup cars of the Audi TTs. Sprint racing as well, as already mentioned. 3 15-minute races to emulate the true nature of club racing. Short, fast races with unpredictable reverse grids. Pleasure to be with you, and welcome to the stream. Qualifying underway just over 6.5 minutes ago. It's Pavel Karazak, Hein, Bevan Silver, Hill, Bevudas, Corona Blitz. Names. I know that's Adam in 10th. Adam in 10th? I can't pronounce that last name. I'm not going to try and attempt to. To be perfectly honest with you, I'll leave that one to you, Scotty. Scoring 11th, Bain 12th, Brenston now down in 14th, and Myatt, Kankos, Beams, and McCardle. 19 drivers to kick off this first week's worth of racing.
Yeah, we can see them racing away, getting their early laps in. 4 minutes left into session. Bavo has pulled off, and can see this little train that is leading the way. Seems like Zach Silver might be at the front of this queue as Sean McGardle puts in a time for P4. Let's just bring up how the sectors are looking. Johann's not on a great lap at the moment, returns to the pits, but Jacob Hein improving at stance, half second off the current provisional pole time set by Pavot, coming through the final corner now, making the climb up towards the start finish line. Zach Silver bumps himself up to P5, and Jacob Hein 127.7 improves, but will try and stay in third. Alfie Bevan improves 128.0, a few tenths off of breaking into the top 3. Let's try and go further back. Stevie being on a bit of a better lap here. Currently dropping down the order into 18th, but where we'll put them should be into the top 10 just about, slinging into P10.
Indeed, Matt _OLC. Alfie, go and get him, boy. Welcome, thank you for joining. Thanks for the chat. Wonderful to see you. As we do see that Alfie Bevan back with us, one of the OG kind of drivers here for oNiD Racing in Assetto Corsa. Good to see him back in these cup cars as we see Cancross going to the line. 127.9, the fourth driver to set a time into the 127s. It's a very exclusive club at the minute, and McCardle will come to the line, see if he can join that club. 6th position currently, however, not an improvement. 128.7 was that lap. Couldn't better his 128.1 as he goes for another lap and using a liberal amount of exit curb going through turn 1. We'll jump on board with Ash Hill as these front-wheel drive cars getting through the corners now. There'll maybe a bit of understeer, especially with all the power going to those front wheels. They have to turn and accelerate at the same time, and This will be a bit of a hard job for two spherical-shaped rubber wheels as they go up through the final turn. Asher will come to the line, is a personal best, and does put it into P8 for now. Kankos, personal best as well. 0.5, or maybe not now, that sector now is not on the personal best and is very much on a slow lap, unfortunately. It looked promising there for Anton, but he will, I'm sure, have time to give it another go. Nature of these cars is that in qualifying they do have normal power, but in the race they will have push to pass opportunities. 10 activations per race, I do believe, and that should be signified on the timing tower on the left side of the screen. We will just keep an eye out for that one. Hill going through the middle sector on board now as he goes into the braking zone for the chicane in the middle of the lap. Odd one, it's a right left and an immediate right again, so you've got to get that corner nice, neat and tidy, not to compromise yourself. Get as much speed as you can going back into the middle, into the final sector. Uphill we go. These few more corners to go, and a very demanding fast right hand, as I said previously. Front wheel drive these cars, so turning and accelerating at the same time will be tricky. And however, Ash looks to get away well out of that section. One last turn to go, gets it turned in nicely, clips the apex, uses a decent amount of curb. Up the hill they go, across the line. What's it going to be? Just a one place improvement for now. Hill to 7th. Jacob Pine, however, looking good, and we'll stick with him going through the final sector. Karolzak has pulled off and he's going to go back to the pits. I believe Pavo's also off circuit. The hairpin at the other end of the circuit, parking up maybe, or it's actually now getting going once more. Hein will, however, go through the final sector. Got a bit of traffic ahead of him. I'm not quite sure what car that is. It's number 116. I do believe that might be Ben Beams, currently down in 18th, who just about gets out of the way. Hyde will be able to finish lap though, gets a bit of a tow. How much does that compromise him coming to the line? Would it be an improvement? It will be an improvement. Up to second position. A little bit of a way back on Pavo as it stands. Scorer now. Well, that's going to be an invalidated lap going off on the grass there. Maybe taking a bit too much curb and turning that very lovely cup car into a bit of a ride-on lawnmower. However, it does continue, but it will be invalidated. Pavo as well, having a bit of fun as he tries to go for another lap, going wide through turn 1. But he's going to get going again just to see if he can better that 127, maybe even get into the 126s. Time will tell.
Braking for the Island Bend hairpin. Gets good traction using all of the curb on the exit, now making over the hilltop crest. 7 tenths down though, a little bit wide at T1, so it's not looking like a great lap for Pavot, who does lead the field by over 3 tenths to Jacob Hein. But obviously doesn't look like anyone is really improving at this stage. Everyone just starting their final qualifying laps as there's 15 seconds left in session. It is coming to a close. Look at the rear end kick out through Jareds for Pavot. See just how much they're pushing. They've pulled back a 10th in the middle sector. I somehow doubt they're going to pull back 6.5 tenths though in the final sector, but it is looking like a comfortable pole position for them. Alfie Bevan across the line will get themselves up to P4 ahead of Kankos, who is aborting their final lap. Let's have a little look down. Alex Wood coming through Jareds now. One of the few cars on an improvement. Alfie Bevan, I think, just reconnecting to the server, so they should pop back up. Meanwhile, missed Johan just about improving to get in front of Jacob Hein by less than 300ths of a second at the front of the field. We'll go back to Alex Wood, who improves up to P7. Costas then coming towards Jareds as Yuri Shore, who wasn't improving after the middle sector, improves, and Alfie Bevan reconnects. So Shore up to P6 then. We just have a few more cars to finish their final lap. Only one of them is improving, which is Bevodas into the final corner, Lodge corner now. gets applies throttle very quickly, doesn't use too much of the exit curb. Can they jump up from 13th place at the moment? It's up into the top 10, displacing Zach Silver, 3/10 off of Stevie Bain, so I don't think they could have done too much more than that. Good final lap. Jacob Hind, last car across the line, though a second down after the middle sector, is unlikely to improve and does not improve. And that is our qualifying session.
Wonderful stuff, and that also gives us a bit of an insight to the pecking order for this season. I know we're visiting very different circuits, so maybe some experience for those who are quite new to the circuit, or maybe for some of the faster drivers actually quite like the circuit. But we do have some of a loose pecking order for this first race. That I would be fully prepared to expect that to be turned on to the top of its head, to be perfectly honest with you. A reverse grid race coming up for race 3, but one 50-minute race coming up now. We will then, after this race, have a 5-minute qualifying that allows these guys to get back out on circuit, set the grid for race 2, and race 3 will be that partial reverse grid. I believe it's just the top 10, isn't it, for reverse grid?
It is somewhere between 10 and 18 positions.
Oh.
I believe it is being randomly drawn, so we'll have to see what gets drawn a little later on. Not too sure. I think it's being drawn after this first race.
Very nice. So we'll get that announcement as soon as we get it. You guys will be the first to know. But we will just hang fire for now and await this this first race of season 6.
Yes, drivers will be heading on to the grid very shortly, and then they will gear up to get underway for our first race. You can see them now on the grid. We're going to have 15 minutes of racing. Should see 10 or 11 laps in the race. So not short races, plenty, not too much time for the drivers to utilise their push-to-passes. And when the race gets started, we'll also confirm just how many push-to-passes are available to them, but they'll be able to use them quite frequently compared to our last season, which was very different with the Indy cars, where we had one long race. You had to think carefully about when you used them. This time, it's going to be very much the opposite. Not long before our drivers start to barrel towards turn 1. Hopefully, we can have a clean start to this season. 19 cars on the field. We'll have to see how it pans out.
Absolutely. Depending where you are, you've got 18 opportunities to make a move. So we'll see how it all goes. Look out for the back grid drivers maybe trying to fight their way through. And we will see, I'm sure, those pole sitters having to defend positions from those who are snipping at their heels.
Yes, not too long before we get underway. The lights coming on now. 5, 6 red lights. The engine revs rise. And lights on, away we go here. Looks like a good launch, clean launch from everyone as they now start to make the way towards turn 1. Now into Old Hall corner. Try not to run too wide. Jacob Hind, that we're watching adventuring wise, go lose out to 3rd place car. As with a couple of cars already on pushed pass, 16 pushed passes it looks like potentially for drivers, as we've got one car off. That's Stevie Bain out onto the grass, adventuring early on.
He's not going to be thrilled with that. He'll get going once more, but around the outside goes Johan Karolzak, but Pavo holding position as they go through Island Hairpin, down now the back straight into the chicane. Another opportunity to make a move at the inside here. Potentially, you have to be very much alongside even before you get to the racing zone to even think about making a move. Karolzak is nowhere near close enough to do so, and will retain that second position with Pavo leading them away.
Yeah, so as we look, it is very tight actually. Going for the move is Johan, looking for one at least, as Pavo defending the inside. Coming towards final turn then. They'll look to the inside, but not confident enough to go for a dive at this stage is Johan. They'll twitch in the middle of the corner. Had to make a correction. That just drops him back ever so slightly from Pavo. Just going to now try and break away as we complete the first lap of the race. Steve Bean up to 18th, getting past Ben White after that unfortunate moment at turn 2, running wide. You can see with how much pushed passes everyone has, certainly a lot of them being used. Sean McGardle currently on the button at the moment, but not quite close enough. Johan actually on the button as they head towards the hairpin. Karlzak having to respond, defends the inside. Can Johan, with their Shrek livery, make it the entire way around the outside? No, it's too long of a way to go that time, and will have to hold in place. Tucks into slipstream as they come down to Hislop's chicane. Not close enough for a move. It's very risky to go for a move just with how tight it gets on apex. You can see the cars bouncing the inside wheels over the curb, getting onto 2 wheels. They carry on. A little bit wide for Johan, going to compromise the run, might give an opportunity to Alfie Bevan.
You might do indeed, and Alfie will look up the outside. That's actually score going on. That's score on Hind fighting away, I do believe, actually, there.
Further back, Jacob getting a run, but not quite enough to go for a move. Towards Falcorn, you can see how close the field is. Very few gaps have opened out through the field. You can see in the background Zach Silver putting pressure on Sean McGardle as everyone comes through to complete the second lap now. 4/10 quicker for Zach Silver, so certainly quicker. It's all about making a move as Alfie Bevan gets on the push to pass and is trying to make a move into Cascades, is looking round the outside. A little bit of a squeeze, a little bit of a wheel bang, and Johan's going to get on the push to pass now, try and get themselves back in front. They're not going to be able to challenge Pivot this lap, who's going to save a push to pass. Alfie looking to the inside, not quite far enough. Gets a little bit of bumper-to-bumper contact, a little bit more on the exit, heavily compromises him. Might give an opportunity to some of the drivers behind.
Score is looking to make a move. I think it will be alongside Alfie Beaver to go down into the chicane, and that's actually going to be move done. Alfie losing a position there, fighting away. I'm glad I'm not the only one that's seen that livery, by the way. I'm just going to say that all green livery of Carol's. He didn't be able to change his logo in the timing tower. That's a bit cheeky, but yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one seeing that. As they all now starting to bunch up behind Johan, maybe becoming a bit of a slower car, and being maybe a bit of a bottle in the cork a little bit. We'll give it a couple laps to see if Pavo can maintain that lead about 1.3 seconds. It may be the case of that Johan maybe starting the battle for best of the rest for this first race this evening.
Alfie Bevan putting a lot of pressure on Troy now to try and get themselves back into third position. Not going for a move into turn 1. Is all over that rear bumper. I think there might have been, yeah, there was a little bit of rubbing through turn 1 as well. Alfie is quicker, but needs to find a way through, needs to do so cleanly. Can't afford to have another moment like they had with Johan this place last lap, both of them on the push to pass. Alfie, though, has 3 more activations for the rest of the race compared to Shorai. Is trying to be brave, breaking late round the outside. We didn't see this work last time, and gets shuffled out wide a little bit, was left a bit of room, but with a little bit of contact, just found themselves wide onto the grass. Now he's going to come under pressure from Jacob Hine, using the push to pass, is going to try and hang it round the outside of the first part of the chicane. Will be the inside for the left-hander if they can keep it there, but on that tight line, taps Alfie Bevan into the grass, but still side by side through Knickerbrook on the exit.
Alfie returns the favour, however. Door-by-door racing and a bit of contact and argy-bargy is acceptable in terms of fighting for position. A flash of the headlights was that there from Jacob, as I think Kankos actually trying to make a move past. Or was that Kankos flashing his lights? That was Kankos, obviously getting annoyed with Jacob Hine a little bit.
Background, Kankos running a bit wide through the corner. They were all bumper to bumper, a little bit nudging through the final corners. They come up towards T1. Kankos is going to be on the outside trying to defend from Sean McGardle, trying to carry the momentum, but they come together. Zach Silver collected within it, but uses the front wheel drive to straighten the car up, gets past Sean McGardle and is still on the back of Kankos. Surprisingly, everyone making out cleanly. The front wheel drive certainly coming in useful there.
Indeed. Also, just a quick note to the Twitch chat. Hello, Random Milk. Haven't seen you here in a while. It's wonderful to have you back. Welcome to Season 6 here on oNiD, Round 1 of the Audi TT Trophy at Oulton Park, Ireland.
Plenty of tense racing action so far, and we're not even halfway through the race just yet. Cankos has dropped off the back of Jacob Hein after that incident. As you can see, everyone through. Oh, gets onto the grass, turning in for Nickerberg, and that's going to give an opportunity to Jacob Hein. Gets the nose down the inside, but on that tighter line isn't able to carry the momentum, but push to passes being activated, and it's side by side between Cankos and Zach Silver, that's trying to make the move. Zach Silver does get the move done, getting on the push to pass first, got the momentum, and is now up to P6. We'll try and close in on Jacob Hein, but I'm sure the 5-car train behind them will not let them rest easy.
No, it won't, not in the slightest. Pushing all these drivers are as they are. It's going to be interesting to see who does prevail. Ash Hill, speaking of pushing, is now trying to make it past Sean McArdle. McArdle's not giving it all his own way. There's a wobble and there's a lot of acceleration as Ash Hill uses that front wheel drive to pull the car out of a potential spin. However, just a place to Adam Ely.
Adam Ely taking advantage of the contact 3T1, though Ash Hill going for a cutback, trying to come back towards the hairpin. Interestingly, Adam hasn't used many of their pushed passes into the hairpin. Adam Ely on the inside, Ash Hill getting shuffled out wide on the exit. Do any of them use their pushed passes? Through here starts Ash Hill not using their pushed passes as they come towards the chicane. It looks like Ash Hill is going to win out, and Adam Ely is going to have to settle for 9th place. Someone that's Alex Wood in the background taking to the grass, and Adam Ely taking to the grass then in front. That's going to allow Sean McArdle to get past. Tucks into slipstream, does Adam Ely, not using a push pass as Sean used one. Look at the slide though through Druids. Just on the limit, these drivers are. Adam Ely trying to close back up as we've got a fight through the final corner for P6. Zach Silver trying to fend off Cankos to hold on to that P6. And looks like they just about have done. Further back side by side between Bovadas and McArdle, fighting for the final spot in the top 10. Side by side into turn 1. Bovadas on the inside, sends it in, runs a bit wide on the exit, but so does Sean McArdle. And that allows Stevie Bean to come through and try and make up all the places. Up now into P10 as they come into Cascades. Big slide for Bovadas, but further up fighting Uri Shore, trying to take P3 from Alfie Bevan.
Indeed they are, and I think that move is done for P3. Alfie dropping to 4th. However, they are still side by side going into the chicane. Alfie on the inside line has to yield. Scorer gets the move done around the outside.
We'll go back to Alex Wood fighting with Bovadas towards the same chicane. Alex Wood on the inside will get the place as Bovadas has to cut the chicane. Well, hopefully Bovadas will give the place up, otherwise it could be facing a post-race penalty. With how tightly compact the field is, could be a lot more costly than just giving the place up right now. As they come towards Druids, looks like Alex Wood coming under more pressure from Sean McArdle, who's headed towards lapping. But speaking of towards laps, Adam Ely into the gravel.
That's at the top of the circuit, so in the final sector, so that's going to cost him time to dig himself back out again, and we'll get going once more. Alfie, however, round the outside of turn 1, with push to pass, gets the move done up into 3rd position. Jury, though, not too far behind, and will remain on his bumper. However, can't do anything as it stands. It is orange. Very much on the bumper, making contact going through the second turn. 5 push to passes to go for Alfie, and only 2 left for Scorer. But Scorer is actually using a push to pass and thinks about making a move at the inside of the island hairpin. Doesn't do that there right now. You can see the push passes left available on the timing tower on your left, but if you can get a good camera shot, you can actually see it. I've noticed in the rear quarter panel of the rear side window of these cars on the left-hand side. Just worth noting.
That is a very good spot. I've been wondering what that number is. It's good to finally know Bovadas has had a per middle sector is dropping places, but there's plenty of racing to be looking at. Ash Hill getting up into P7 ahead of Cankos, who's who's fallen off the back of Zach Silver, who's using a push to pass to try and break away. Also had another change of position. I think Sean McGardle getting up to P10 ahead of Alex Wood, if I think correctly. Cancos closing in as the Ash Hill sliding through Druids of drivers have done all race long. Just over 3 minutes remaining. It will be 3 laps to go as the leaders have just crossed the line into the final corner then. Can anyone get a good exit? Doesn't quite look it. We see a push to pass from Stevie Bain, who's maybe going to try and find an opportunity towards T1. Is closing with that push to pass. Isn't quite close enough to make a move into T1 though. Going through the corner, I think a bit contact there mid-corner and running out wide. Yes, contact coming up between the two of them on the timing screen. Cancos onto the grass. Stevie Bain not taking advantage of it as we have Corona Blitz into the pit lane, so that will drop them to the back of the field, unfortunately. But with 3 laps to go, it'll be difficult to make up the time lost. Maybe under fueling for the race. Get that fuel calculation wrong, but we'll stick with Stevie Bain, who's on the push to pass once again, is looking to the inside here of Cancos coming into the chicane, but will Cancos fight it around the outside? No, Steve Bain will get the move done and is up into P8. Only 2 push passes, though Cancos has 4. That could give them an opportunity to retake 8th position.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll hang fire for now and see what you can do, Stevie. And Cancos, I think, will try and fight it back, but has now got a sizable gap to not be right on the tail of Stephen Bain. P8 looks fairly secure, got a couple of cars ahead of him, but we'll see what you can do. Leaders are going on to the penultimate lap. There'll be 2 laps inclusive of this one, so we're looking at an 11-lap racing for our quarter of an hour races this evening, and we'll have another one follow very shortly after a very brief 5-minute qualifying. We get to do it all over again.
Niels Berentsen making a mistake through Druids, losing out to Bavodas, who's trying to recover after an earlier incident. Meanwhile, Ash Hill has got up to the back of Zach Silver and is looking to make a move for P6, but has brought along Stevie Bain with him. He runs a little bit wide out of Cascades, is going to compromise their momentum towards the hairpin, but still going to be close enough to force Ash Hill to defend the inside. Bit of bouncing on the curb. Can see Ash Hill having not used any of their push to passes yet. Apparently, Stevie Bain using their penultimate push to pass. They don't have many attempts. They'll be closing towards the hairpin. They pull out. Are they going for a dive? They're trying to break late. Ash Hill will give them the space. Outside for the second part becomes the inside for Knickerbrick, and Stevie Bain getting the move done. But that's like Zach Silver to pull away up in front, who's again using a push to pass to try and pull away, open the gap up, and give themselves a safer final lap where they're not at risk from those behind. Slide through Druids for Stevie Bain as Ash Hill keeping on that rear bumper. I'm going to guess they haven't got push to pass assigned as they try and be using it now to get back past, using as much as they can. But through the final corner, Stevie looking to trying to fend off around the outside, isn't quite able to, and Ash Hill will get back up to P7. Cancos in the background using a push to pass to try and take advantage to this. Look to the inside, but contact in the braking zone sideways into T1 for Ash Hill. Cancos is going to move up to 7th position, but did they push their way past? Are they liable to a post-race penalty? Ash Hill's going to try and fight back on the inside of Cascade. Stevie Bain with nowhere to go. It is, I believe it is the final lap of the race. Not sure what it's saying. 10 of 12 in the top left. But as we go through the right-hander, hairpin now over the crest towards the chicane. In the background, can see Sean McGardle trying to make their way past Stevie Bain and getting the move done. Stevie still has pushed past. Sean McGardle has a little bit of contact and spinning Sean McGardle out is just about going to keep the car over the wall, but will drop down to P11 as a result of the contact. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it'll be James Pavot who takes the first victory of the season, or actually no, starting the final lap apparently.
Oh, I do wonder if it's 15 minutes plus 1 lap. I'm not sure if that's how they set up the server, actually, to be perfectly honest. So it might be it might be the case. That's why we've seen the timer hit 0 on the 10th lap, and indeed, this will now be the final lap.
You
Just gonna
make a good point,
quickly research.
and just checking, it is correct. That is where it's been set up, this race. Hopefully that hasn't caught any of the drivers out. As you can see, Pavot using all of the track on the exit. Still has another push to pass, as I'm sure they're maybe seeing if they can get a fastest lap on this final lap. We'll go back to Stevie Bean, who got sort of shuffled out a little bit earlier on and then had that contact with Sean McGirdle, still on the back of Kankus, and is the driver really looking to be close enough to make a move on this final lap as they come
It's it is a shame for Ash Hill not being able to use his pusher passes. If he's been able to fight as Stevie Bain tries getting an aggressive turn in onto the corner, but there's a very similarly shaped car on his inside. He's not going to be able to do it there, and we'll have to hang fire for a second. We're just saying that Ash Hill would be such a shame that if he hasn't been able to use the pusher passes, what else could he have been able to do this race?
James Pavot does come across the line now to take the checkered flag and our first victory of the season. Hev Karlzak and Alfie Bevan. Jacob Hine closing in on Yuri Shore at the end, but was not quite close enough. Zach Silver will take a P6 finish, and Stevie Bean still pressuring Kankos up to the line. Will not get through. Has a good run out of the final corner. Has the slipstream, but will be a 10th back as they cross the line. A little further back, Adam Ide, who had a good start to the race, found themselves in the gravel on the outside of Druids, will recover to 14th position. And Brenton, I wonder if they ran out of fuel on the final lap. They've returned to the pits, and they will be the last of our finishers, it seems like, of the race.
Yeah, quite potentially, unfortunately. That's a shame for him. We see the last couple of cars come to the line. 17th comes to the line, I think. Chrono Blitz also just about to come to the line as well in P18. And yeah, I think that's going to be a refuel for Brenston. He's been there a mighty long while, however, but maybe something bigger happened that we missed. Because that is a very long fuel stop. It is just a quick splash and dash just to see him across the checkered flag.
I wonder if running out of fuel, if they towed back to the pits rather than driving in themselves.
You do wonder, don't you?
Yeah, but that will unfortunately be the end of their race there, and that will be the end of our first race. A very, very frantic race, but a very enjoyable race indeed. With it done, let's just have a run through of the race 1 results of the IDTT Trophy.
Indeed we shall. It's Pavot that takes the win for race 1 of 11 laps worth of racing. Karlzak second, Bevan third, Squirrel fourth, Hind fifth, Silver sixth, seventh is Hill, Kankos eighth, Bain ninth, Wood 10th, Ricardo 11th, Ben Beams 12th, Overstreet 13th, Adam Ely 14th, Bevodus in 15th, Ben Myatt, we'll come back to him in a second, in 16th, Spaxvik in 17th, and Crediblitz in 18th. Now, as I mentioned about Ben Myatt, we have a guest that has just chimed in to our comms booth. Ben Myatt, admin and racer tonight. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, I'm here for a reason.
Uh-oh.
Hang on, and you'll see the reason in a second. Well, you guys will anyway.
Yes,
It's random number picking time.
We're gonna get number wheel. I wish Stream could see this, but I'm very excited.
Right, I'm just waiting for the server to tick over to make sure it saves the results.
Indeed. Oh,
yeah, it
this
looks
is
like
good.
it's ticking over now. I would try and bring it up on stream, but I don't want to delay things too much longer, so I'll just grab a screenshot of the result to show the stream after it spins. But before you spin, Ben, how was that first race for you? It was very frantic from our position. We didn't get to see much of what happened with yourself.
Definitely was. It's not saved the results. I'm going to have a bad evening. Yes, it was not too bad. The cars don't have a clutch, and it rolled forward on me when I was trying to hold it on the brakes for the start. So I ended up with a drive-through and had to fight back a bit. But yeah, it was good fun what I was involved in. So we Can only
Mhm.
good thing about coming at the tail end is you can only move forward.
Yeah.
But
How strong were the pushed passes? They seemed quite effective from what we saw, but how did it feel within the car?
they were pretty effective. When I was behind Chris and I hit the push to pass, I could really feel it catching up with him. When I think he hit one out of the Knickerbrook chicane, and you could see the car pulling away from you. So it was they're definitely effective, and I think strategic uses are going to be very good throughout the season.
Yeah, because while
Uh,
you get a lot of them, there isn't much of a cooldown, so you can spam them a little
you
bit for these short races, especially.
can indeed, and it's definitely fun.
Right.
Right.
Shall we
Okay.
spin the wheel then?
Yep. It's in between numbers 10 and 18. So we'll see what we get.
Oh.
Spinning. It looks like it's going to be a slightly lower number. It is landed on 13.
13. That's an intro. That's going to be just outside the top 10. Is going to be a interesting place to fight for.
Indeed, it
Let's.
will be. And this is going to be for race 3, isn't it?
It will be, yes. And
Good stuff.
from the next race onwards, damage is enabled. Everyone's had
Yeah,
a everyone's had a sighting lap, so we're now they get to do they get to do it for real, as it were.
Be a little
oh
bit more
my.
careful with those bumpers when
Uh,
in these
Yes,
long trains that we've seen in the first race.
indeed.
okay,
That
right.
is going to be interesting.
I will
So,
get the
yes,
server going, and I will leave you guys to it.
Thank you
thank
very
you very
much,
much.
Ben.
Thanks very much. Catch you later.
It is.
Once I find the right chat.
Yeah. Oh, Ben.
Yes, that was
Cool.
Ben joining us to draw how many places will be reversed from the second race results for the third race 3 grid. So 13 places. That, if it was based on the race 1 results, would have put Chris Overstreet on pole position and given James Pavot 12 cars to pass to take another victory. But of course, it's not based on the race 1 results, it's based on race 2, which will be coming up shortly. We'll have a 5-minute qualifying session, which will set the grid for that. But before we focus on race 2, let's have that rundown of the race 1 results.
Indeed, we shall. Once more is Pavo, Kawzak, Beeben Scorer, Heinz Silver, Hill Cancos, Bain Wood, your top 10. Ricardo 11th, Beams 12th, Overstreet 13th, Adamili 14th, Bevodus 50th, Myatt 16th, Spekvik in 17th, and Crediblitz in 18th. Now, if it was a reverse grid race, Overstreet would be on par, which would be very interesting. Anything between him and Pavot would be completely flipped on its head. So we've got to bear that in mind for race 2, and we'll just keep an eye on who's going to take that elusive P13 position. Opportunities there, especially for those who did have a bit of a torrid race, such as Ben, and I think Chronoblitz also had an issue at the end of the race as well, to fight for that pole position for race 3. The only downside is they'll have 12 other cars behind them wanting to get back past.
Yeah, and we know how eventful, how chaotic the reverse grid races can be from previous seasons, such as our mini season, which ran the same format. That's a couple of seasons ago now. Um, so yeah, it certainly will be one to watch, one to look forward to, but it is a little while before we get to that. Drivers are having a quick little warm-up session between the two races before we get going. Before we get going for the second qualifying session, it'll be interesting to see with the shorter qualifying session if any drivers sort of struggle to get a good lap in. Maybe we'll see some of the quick drivers sort of not get time in and start a little further back than they would like to.
Yeah, absolutely. We do ask our drivers, however, to set representative lap time, so would hope that they all do set their quickest possible lap times instead of trying to maybe do a bit of tactical and start a bit further back for that race.
I don't think there's
Well,
anything tactical about starting further back, but just
well,
maybe make mistakes. You got some high-speed corners around here that certainly serve easy to make. We've seen a few mistakes in the first qualifying session and even during the race. So I wonder if we'll see more of them perhaps in the race. We're in this shortened qualifying session. But yeah, we'll have to wait and find out. Drivers are currently, as said, running around with doing some little warm-up laps. Some of them finding barriers.
yes, indeed. A little bit of a practice for those to regain their or refamiliarise themselves with the circuit once more. No, it's a long circuit. It's a shorter circuit of Oulton, but the island circuit, the hairpin in the middle instead of that towards the end of the circuit. Missing out a chicane in the process as well. Only one chicane instead of the two. So yeah, just I do. To be fair, I do prefer, so especially with club racing, I do prefer the shorter circuit. Give it in F3s or F4s or GT or anything else like that. I think the longer track does suit. But if it's like club racing like this, shorter circuit, I think it's just a little bit better.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, you miss out the cambered hairpin, which can be difficult to make a move into, and this chicane you just stay on the left-hand side, sort of three-part chicane, which is generally very single file, and to replace that you get a hairpin that makes for quite decent racing. So I agree with you there. I think it does make good racing. I would love to see this chicane that is on the left, this three-part chicane, reprofiled a bit to try and open it up a little bit more, and create a better opportunity for overtaking. Just because it's too tight, too single file as you're braking over the left apex for the right-hander. Just straighten up that entry, take that sort of first apex out and only have two apexes in there. I think it could be much better, but there's nothing we can do about changing Oulton Park.
No,
But yeah,
if only.
if only indeed. The warm-up session is coming towards an end. The drivers starting to prepare for the qualifying session, set their fuel, as we have about a minute and a half before we get underway for that. Just trying to think, minute and a half for just under a minute and a half lap time for Oulton Park Island in these Audi TTs. Should see 3 flying laps from most of the field. It'd be interesting to see if that is enough for them.
Yes.
Whether that's enough for all the drivers to get their ideal lap in, or if we'll see some people making a good impression, taking advantage of the shortened sessions, and sort of anyone sort of not getting, as I said, not getting a lap in and just falling back and leaving themselves a lot of work to do in the race.
Indeed. So, not too much longer before these guys get out to a quick 5-minute qualifying. As you said, should be enough for at least a couple of laps. But a short on qualifying, I think you also made a very good point there. Because it's so much shorter, it's going to be a bit more trickier to get a lap in and get a valid lap time. See if it shakes up the order in it of any sorts. But getting that lap in early or getting out early potentially may just be the thing you need to do. So watch out for those times and see how they get on.
Yep, session is now live. Drivers making their way out of pit lane. Let's see who is at the front. Jacob Hine, one of the first cars out of the field, and look at that train of cars. Might be a bit difficult to find a clear space for your qualifying laps. You don't want to lose, when you're so limited on time and laps around here, you don't want to lose any laps to catching traffic and getting held up.
No, exactly. Anything in front of you or in your way, but any potential cars that are maybe a bit more slower than you, it's going to hurt. So we'll see how these guys get on. I think it is Cradle Blitz that actually was the first car in this train to get out the circuit. So we'll keep an eye on that and just be sure that he can set a good lap time. He'll be the first one to do so. He'll have clean air. As long as they stay out front, they won't have any concerns.
Yeah, interestingly, Johan Karlzak returning to pit lane, probably thinking, nope, way too much traffic here for them. They're going to give up a lap by doing this so, but look at the track map, the clean air they will have. Yeah, going to be unparalleled compared to everyone in this group. Most notably, thinking of James Pavot, who is backing up, you can see, trying to make a bit of space for themselves. Obviously, our race 1 winner. They're going to be quick, but they're going to need space to put the lap in. Looks like they've made that space up for them. Of course, the drivers behind won't want to back up too much. Might start fighting over position a little bit. I think there might have even been a crash at the final corner, looking at how slow one of the dots are moving. But anyway, we blast into Old Hall Corner with Pavot clipping the inside curb, not using too much of the outside curb, as Jacob Hind has already pulled off from their first flying lap. That's not a great start to the session for them. Breaking into Cascade's long left-hander, getting the car turned in, using a bit of the apex curb. That looked pretty clean. Now heading towards Island Bend, heavy on the brakes of the 100 board. Runs the car in a little bit deep, but pulls it back for the apex, straightening the car up, using all of the track with the chicane on the exit to try and get the best run towards the Hislop chicane. Braking very late, about 60 meters before the corner. They'll tap on the first curb, getting it, hooking the inside wheel of the left-hander. Now through Knickerbrick, a little bit wide of the apex. The car just sliding out there as I now make the run up Clay Hill towards Druid. Seeing all of the cars sliding through this double right-hander throughout the race. Pavot turning the car in a bit early, braking straight, and then big snap of oversteer through the middle. Uses the front wheel drive to straighten the car up and keeps it on the track, but maybe left to build time there. Braking then for the final corner, nice and clean. Gets the car turned in, the apex bounces over the inside bit, which might have unsettled the car. Let's run up to the line then for Pavot, and it's up into provisional pole position, but Alfie Bevan was looking to be on a quicker time, but I think they must have invalidated it as it's not registered.
Oh dear, that's not going to go down well. We'll get another lap in. That is no issue at all, but yeah, that's going to hurt, especially with such a shorter qualifying.
Yeah, penultimate lap then for Alfie, as drivers, anyone starting a lap now will be starting their final lap. I think most of the field will get round in time to start another lap. Pavot 1.5 tenths up in the middle sector. Alfie Bevan, it's a personal best, but it's over 4 tenths down on Pavot's benchmark so far.
It is indeed. That's not going to be what you want to see in a car, as that delta is going to hopefully improve come second set. Maybe being able to find some time. We'll find out in a second. It's purple.
A tenth down on the current benchmark. Has pulled a lot of time back, but Pavot is now half a second up. No one is going quicker than Pavot's current benchmark, and he is about to improve by half a second. We'll watch Alfie Bevan through the final corner. Bit of oversteer there, drags him wide onto the curb. I'll keep it on the track as Pavot sets a 1:27.0. That improves upon their first qualifying time. Alfie Bevan will pop into second, but it's nearly 7 tenths off in second place. Let's look a little further back. Alex Wood coming up to the line, pops himself up into P8, bump to P9 as Adam Ede goes up into 5th place. Everyone's starting their final lap. Time counts down to 0. Jacob Hind just misses the line by a fraction, putting themselves up to P4. That'll be their final attempt, just missing the line, I believe, as we'll now have to see who else is improving. Ash Hill looks to be improving, but still half a second off of Pavot's time through the first sector alone.
How in the world has Pavot found that time to get even closer to 1:27? I have No idea. 127.6 for Karolzak, but still, that's a good 4 or 5 tenths off.
Yeah, over half a second off still. Ashhill
That's not going to help his cause.
gets the rear wheels out into the grass curve, too unsettled, and that will be lap time over. Alfie Bevan coming past, currently sitting in third place, will be hoping to try and get themselves back onto the front row. Up to the line now. Is it good enough for second place? It won't be pole position, but does take second by 200ths of a second. That could be a crucial qualifying lap right there. Let's look a little further back. Ben Beams gets up to 16th as Chris Overstreet goes to 14th. Ben Myatt on their final lap, coming up to the line, dragging Sean McArdle with them. Does improve, but not enough to improve. Is in 19th and will be the last car on our grid for race 2.
Indeed, it will. What a qualifying. Pavo improving, but still a good, decent chunk of time ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
As we now await the cars go to the grid for race 2. Now, remember, that was the only other qualifying left for this evening. Race 3 will be determined by the reverse grid. Top 13. Bear in mind, everyone else behind 13th position, that's where they'll start for race 3. 14th and downwards, you're out of luck. But 13th is the golden ticket for pole position for race 3.
So currently, that would be Krona Blitz starting in 13th, Christian Overstreet in 14th. We'd just be missing out. But as we've seen in the first race, there's plenty of action to come, plenty of shuffling of positions. Who will be in reverse grid pole, we'll have to wait and see. Of course, drivers will be trying to maximise the result in the second race anyway. But as I said, James Pavot taking pole position, a 127.08 for nearly half a second in front of Alfie Bevan, who takes second at the end. Johan Karlzak will be rolling off third in line. They'll be hoping to get back into second, where they finished in the first race. Ashhill in fourth, had Jacob Hine in P5. Steve Bain is in P6, Sean McArdle in P7. Adam Eade in P8 will be hoping to stay in P8. And not fall back as they did in the first race. It has Zach Silver in P9. Kankos rounds out our top 10. Uri Shore will be starting in P11, ahead of Alex Wood in 12th. As mentioned, Krona Blitz is in 13th provisional pole for the third race if they were to stay there. But of course, that is very unlikely to happen. Christian Overstreet is in 14th, ahead of Adam in 15th. Ben Beams in P16 with Costas Mavodas in 17th. Niels Bernson in 18th, and Ben Myatt round out our 19-car grid.
Wonderful amount of drivers for tonight as well. 19 cars to take to the circuit. We're just waiting for the lights to come back on, and very shortly they will do so indeed. And oh, that's a good camera angle. I like that. I guess I'll give us a good view at the start.
Yeah, can see everyone lined up over the crest towards the final corner. Won't be too long before they head underway for the second race. We've seen a lot of carnage in the first race. Will we see even more this race as everyone fights for their grid positions for the final race? Remember, top 13 will be reversed. But until then, it's all out fighting for this race results. All the lights are on as the engine rise once again, and that looks like a jump start from our pole sitter, James Pavot with the jump start will have to take a drive-through penalty. Meanwhile, in second place, Johan Karlzak is trying to make a move on Alfie Bevan on the inside to T1, but not quite able to make it work.
It's going to be a move inside this Trek livery car on the outside. Hello, there's massive crash. There's a massive crash actually. That's involving multiple cars. Adam Ely, Stevie Bain, Maya as well getting caught up in that kerfuddle going into turn 2. Multiple cars off circuit, damage now turned on. They are going to be struggling for pace as Karlzak's dropped a position down to 4th.
Ashhill taking advantage, using push to pass as well. Johan used his a little bit earlier. Side by side, very short, trying to look to the insides. They come into the chicane on Zach Silver, but Zach holds it around the outside, takes the apex of the second part, and will hold on to now P5. Little tap on the bumper on the exit. Zach Silver using a push to pass here on the exit. Try and pull a little bit of a gap and take off some of the pressure as they head towards Druids. But a lot of carnage on the opening lap. Quite a few people dropping down the order. We'll have to see how they recover, such as Stevie Bean, who's on the back of Ben Myatt.
Is indeed, and Stevie Bain lurking at each and every way to try and get past, but past Ben here for 13th position. Remember, this is the pole position for race 3, and unfortunately, it looks like just for that over. It's Ash Hill and Kawasaki around.
Big damage for Ash Hill. Johan waiting for a gap to turn the car around, also with a lot of damage. They will fall to the back for the grid. Only Jacob Hound behind him, and Ash Hill returns to the pits, and so does Johan. Too much damage for them to continue. They will be looks like they are getting back out. I'm not sure. Looks like someone else was also leaving the pit lane, but couldn't quite see who that was. Meanwhile, Alex Wood up to P4 now, which is a brilliant position for them. They were down in P12, if I remember correctly, from qualifying. Been a great start for them, getting past Shirai Shore, who's trying to use push to pass to come back. Looking to the inside is Shirai on the brakes now, but Alex Wood trying to do the same as Zach Silver, not quite able to get in front through the second apex, and you're right, sure, we'll get back up into P4, but Alex Wood on the push to pass, not just to attack but to defend from Kankos, who's trying to take advantage of them being compromised, drawing side by side towards Druids. He'll be the outside for Alex Wood into the double right-hander, contact between them. Alex Wood is off into the gravel, luckily doesn't spin, but will drop back down the order, unfortunately, as look at the train come past.
Train is coming past indeed, and that's going to be a very much horrible position for him to be in. It's going to lose all those positions. Pavo's in the pits. That's his drive-through from that jump start. We did say it was a jump start. There's another car in the pit lane just parked off to the side there. Not sure who that was, but they've obviously had an issue leaving the pits and has elected just to pull off on the side. That's 18th position. That's Karolzak.
Karolzak at the back. I think this might have been Ash Hill.
Another car on the inside of pit exit. I'm sure there was. I might have just been seeing things. Anyway, as Adam, a very damaged Adam, actually is able to continue with that car just about. I have to make a move around the outside, goes deep, however, into the iron hair. He's going to try and get the over-under, and that is Ben Myatt going back up into 12th position after a couple of cars going off and wide. We'll now look to improve upon that, but we'll have to stay put as Adam and Overstreet fight into the chicane.
Adam gets the moves done a little further up. Ben Beams and Stevie Bean are fine. Ben Beam is understeering into the grass, and with the train of cars right behind him, they get all the positions. They drop down to 13th. Alex Wood will be next to her, looking to get past him. Will crucially be trying to take reverse grid pole position. Remember, it's 13th. They'll be on pole position, though not quite able to get alongside. Alex Wood will have to find another opportunity later around to try and get the move back done. Meanwhile, at the front, James Pivot, after that drive-through penalty, didn't lose too much time with all the chaos behind him. Zach Silver up to third. Managed to hold on to second place, but it's given Alfie Bevan the lead. Might not be the worst thing with that reverse grid, but I'm sure Pivot would like to make it 2 for 2. So far, we'll come back to this train. Ben Beams running out wide in the background. Luckily, Alex Wood not quite close enough to capitalise on the mistake. Coming down to Cascades. He's actually closing up on Bavodas, trying to put the pressure on now.
Indeed, they are, and looking for that change in positions, both of us, for 12th. Let's denote. Actually, and also get some move done. Actually, oh no, that's right. It's Ben Beans catching up from. I was on a strut over a minute. Sorry, apologies. Regardless, Badovas gets into 12th, and Ben Beans up the inside. Almost made the move work. That was a late lunge at best. Thank goodness they don't come into any more contact.
Fight for third position. Shorey and Zach Silver using their push passes out of Druids. Shorey on the push pass. Zach Silver will cover the inside line as they come towards the final corner. It's going to be battle of the brakes. Shorey late enough and already cleared the overlap will hold on place, but running wide on the exit compromises their run, and Zach Silver is going to try and come back in the background. Kankos on their push pass is going to try and follow through, but nowhere to go as they head towards T1. They on the brakes for sure, they hang it around the outside and will reclaim third place. Brave on the brakes, but I'm sure Zach Silver isn't going to give this one up. That's if Kankos allows them the opportunity. Waiting in the background through Cascades now. Don't run too wide, don't compromise your exit towards the hairpin. Zach having a look, but are they close enough? Not quite. Will anyone use their push to pass on the exit on the run? Troy uses it in defence, but the two drivers behind wait for it to run out and maybe use it on the run towards Stewards.
Indeed, hangs fire for now, waits for another opportunity to come their way. Zach Silver knocking on a door for that third position. As we said, Kankos not too far behind either in the background. Ben Myatt is fighting the Overstreet 11th and 10th, as it looks like they're still side by side. Ben Myatt gets him into 10th position, a bit of a recovery and redemption from last race, as Chris Overstreet is dropping multiple positions, and may have just run wide going through the chicane.
Drops out of the reverse grid positions, promotes Alex Wood to provisional pole, dropping all the way down 16th. That's Branson having a snap of oversteer braking for Jared, slams it into the wall. That's going to be quite a bit of damage for them as they drop down, and will probably bring an end to any chances they have of being on in the reverse grid. But fighting for the final reverse grid position for provisional pole, Bavodas making a move on Alex Wood, now using the push to pass to cement the move, as a little further up Sean McGardle is trying to put pressure on Ben Beams, who is fighting away with Ben Myatt. Ben running wide through turn 1. Ben Myatt, that was, should clarify. It's got the inside, but not brave enough on the brakes. Ben Beams gets the move done as Bavodas is now running wide and dropping down the order, and that promotes Alex Wood back up to provisional reverse grid pole position, as Ben Myatt gets back in front of Ben Beams, but a little bit deep into her pin. Beams trying to come back on the inside, but it's actually going to allow Sean McGardle to get a good exit, and who claims P11.
Indeed it does, and that is going to be a very happy position there for Sean as he gets up into that just outside the top 10, and now it's knocking on the door of Ben Myatt, who himself had a very good race as well. Gets up and avoids most of the chaos on the first lap, and it's just about a car's width there for Mercado to potentially have a look around the outside, and I think Ben's going to let this move happen potentially, as drops back down to 11th position, maybe acknowledging the fact that there's a quicker driver trying to get past him, and Sean McCardle maybe being slightly out of position as to where he normally would be.
But immediately Ben Myatt on the push to pass on the exit, whether to attack or to defend, it isn't clear, but is in P11 now. I think ran wide there out of the final corner. Might allow Ben Beams to close up. Will they be close enough to make a move into T1? They're having a look. They poke the nose up the inside, and Ben Myatt, feeling the pressure, runs himself wide, and it's going to lose 2 places to Ben Beams and Alex Wood. Alex Wood having a look to the inside, but big contact, as I think multiple drivers missing their braking point, and that's going to knock most of them out of the reverse grid positions. Jacob High now up to 13th, who's still carrying on with damage. But Chris Overstreet is going to try and take the place, and so is Bavodas, as they're fighting into the hairpin and find each other once again, find the barriers. Jacob Hine will hold on to reverse grid pole.
Bavodas and Overstreet getting together. I think they were almost 3 wide at one point. I think the car in the middle maybe just was the unwanted spilling in an Audi TT Cup sandwich, and one thing led to another. The outside car got turned into the inside car, and the middle car of Jacob Hine got away with it.
We are only 2/3 of the way through the race. Look, Johan now only 1 place away from getting into the reverse grid positions. If he gets into 13th, you can imagine he's going to be a strong contender to take the final race victory. Meanwhile, a little further up, Stevie Bean made a move last lap on Kankos to take P5. Kankos isn't letting Stevie get away with it as they come towards Cascades. Kankos thinking about a move to the inside, shows the nose, but isn't quite close enough this time. Just trying to keep the pressure on.
Indeed, they are trying to, at the very best, we'll see what they can make of it as Cancos does go through that hairpin. It's been pretty much best. The rest of the jury Srura, who is leading this little pack of cars up in third, but first and second, still really close to each other, but it's Alfie Bevan that leads from Pavot, who are having their own little race at this point. Good old 11 seconds ahead of P3 and this little pack of cars.
Seeing multiple drivers using pushed pass. Someone who's used a lot of pushed pass is Pavot. After that jump start and subsequent drive-through penalty, fell to second place. Has closed up a bit on Alfie Bevan, but has used a lot more of their pushed passes. Only 2 remain as we have 4 laps to go in the race. Remember, when time runs out, we will have another, an additional lap. Gives Pavot a bit more time to try and close up, but can they close up the 1.8 seconds, or will Alfie Bevan's pushed passes help keep them in front? Last lap around, Pavot was only 0.03 of a second quicker. With that impression, won't be able to close up. But any mistake from Alfie Bevan could change the tides. Stevie being sideways into Cascades as they were closing up to Zach Silver. That drops them back and will put them under pressure from Cancos as they come towards Harbin. Defending the inside is Stevie. And looks like they will just about be able to hold on. Cancos on cooldown with their push pass. Stevie using theirs now to pull away again.
Good stuff indeed, and then the battle is still going on for this kind of top end of the top 10. Still all to play for. Now reverse grid, it's a bit of a catch-22. Reverse grid race here will see you drop an order if you gain a position, but the points that you get for them is always worth fighting, regardless of a reverse grid possibility. Stephen Bain, with that being said, still trying to chase down, actually spreading out a little bit. Quite even gaps between all these drivers now, from third to fourth, fifth to sixth, with a bit of a bigger gap down to seventh for Corona Blitz, who let's not forget had a torrid race 1, ended up pretty much dead last, up into seventh. Good result for them as well.
Let's go on board with Johan Karlzak, who has closed in on Jacob Hine using a pushed pass here. And look how much they're closing in. Has to lift off the throttle because they have nowhere to go as they get to Druids. Using a bit of the exit curve. Remember, this is for reverse grid pole position. There will be 3 laps to go when they cross the line. Plenty of opportunities for Johan to make the move, but looks to still be carrying a bit of damage after the opening end of the first lap incident with Ash Hill, who is still at the back of the field. Unfortunately for them, was 8 tenths quicker than Jacob Hines, so certainly has the pace. Can they find a way through? We watch on board. We'll actually switch to Stevie Bain, who's using a push to pass to make a move on Zach Silver. Is looking to the outside as they come into the chicane. Zach Silver trying to keep the nose on the inside, but with the outside of the second apex will have to fall back into line, and that is P4 for Stevie Bain. 3 pushed passes for both of them, but Zach Silver and Cancos using them as they're now nearly side by side. Cancos trying to take advantage of a compromised Zach Silver, is forcing Zach to take a tight line into Druids. This can compromise the exit, allow Cancos to get a run. It's not quite enough, and obviously having just used a push pass can't activate again. It's on cooldown, and so won't have an opportunity towards the final corner, but it's close as ever. Stevie Bain now up to P4. Cancos challenging Zach Silver for P5.
Apologies, I've got hiccups for some reason. Also worth noting, Karaszak up into 13th, so that's going to be, if you can hold that position, reverse grid pole position. So he's going to be laughing involved in an instant, almost up in third or fourth position at the start of the race. He's going to have pole, so he's quids in for this final race if he can hold it for the last 2 laps.
Yeah, Jacob Hines struggling with damage already over 4 seconds back, and Ben Myatt closing in on them. Looks to be a struggle for them, and could be a struggle next race too, with having missed out on the reverse grid. But on board with Cancos this lap, dropping back from Zach Silver a bit. Was on the rear bumper starting the lap, now over half a second, 3/4 of a second now back as they get to the Hislops chicane. So it looks like it'll be too little, only 1 push pass 2 remaining. So it will not quite be close enough as we are on the penultimate lap. 1 more lap to go as time has ran out. as they're heading up towards Druids. Into the all-right-hander, we can see things opening up a little bit, except for Stevie Bain, who's closing in on Uri Shore. However, for the final lap, Shore is going to have 4 pushed passes to defend with. Stevie is only going to have 2. So it's going to be a difficult job for Stevie, but I'm sure they will give it everything. Both of them using one out of the final corner to start the final lap.
Absolutely. We'll see what Stevie can do, and he's not too far behind Squirrel, but it's only a few limited opportunities he has for what is essentially best of the rest of this race. As I've mentioned before, with the leaders already a good 13 seconds ahead, and that is Squirrel going very wide, and Stevie Bain almost going even wider, to be fair, in an effort to try and make a move. But we'll hang fire for now. On the brakes to go for the international hairpin. We'll rejoin the back straight, and we'll go down to the chicane now. Is this going to be a push to pass move? Well, actually, no, it isn't going to be push. It isn't going to be push past Stephen Bain. It's push to pass for Joe Scorer to defend the position. He's got 2 activations left after that one. He's just used his third to last. He's going to have plenty to defend any sort of threat from Stephen here, I do think. So going on to the final corner now at the leaders. As the leaders have come across, it's going to be Alfie Bevan. It's been a while, Alfie, but you're back. Congratulations, race win for race 2 of round 1, with Pavo not too far behind. Takes second position after getting the drive through. Silver makes it past Bain.
Stevie reporting contact with an environment, so with a wall, loses P4, might even lose P5 here on the final corner, will just about hold on to Kankos, but a late mistake, a last sector mistake, costing Stevie Bain, unfortunately for them. But further back, it will be Johan Krolzak in reverse grid pole position for race 3, and we'll be looking to make it 3 different winners in the first round of the Audi TT Trophy. They take 13th, a disappointing 13th, having been in the top 3 at the start of the race, but they'll be looking to make up for it, and they'll have the perfect opportunity starting on pole position to do so. Last car cross line, not last car. Brenson will be last car in the lead lap to finish. Chris Overstreet will be finishing a lap down, unfortunately for them, and will be starting last on the grid for our final race.
Indeed, they will, unfortunately. But big story there. It's Karolzak for pole. After a torrid start of the race, will take pole position.
Will do indeed. So, the grid order, the results for that race. Alfie Bevan taking the win, have Pivot in second. Troy in third with Zach Silver in P4. Stevie Bain holding on to 5th place after that late mistake ahead of Kankos in 6th. Gruna Blitz in P7 ahead of Adam Ely in P8. Sean McGardle finishing P9, and Adam finishing the top 10. Alex Wood, in P11, finishing have Ben Beams in 12th. Johan Krolzak in 13th. Jacob Hine in 14th, just missing out on that reverse grid. Ben Knight will be in 15th, ahead of Bevodas in 16th. Brenson in 17th, with Ash Hill in 18th, and Chris Overstreet in 19th. That means Johan Krolzak will be on pole position. Those places 14th to 19th will stay the same and will set the grid for race 2. 13th to 1st will be reversed. So Krolzak on pole, Ben Beams on the front row in 2nd, Alex Wood in 3rd, Adam in 4th, Sean McGardle in 5th, Adam Ely in 6th. Gruna Blitz will still be in 7th, being bang in the middle of the reverse grid. Kankos will be in 8th, Stevie Bain in 9th, Zach Silver 10th, Shrey in 11th, Pavot in P12, and race 2 winner Alfie Bevan will be in 13th.
Oh, what a formation of a grid. Especially what we've seen tonight, that's going to be interesting. I think we're going to have Karolzak run away with it a little bit, because that awful start he had, and will be able to maybe create a gap between those cars from behind that are slightly slower, but it will be a case of how quick can the others fight through.
It will be indeed. They'll have to be tactical with their push to passes, but the drivers around them will have the push passes to defend. Staying out of trouble seems to be the case for race 3. We had sort of the carnage you'd maybe expect from a reverse grid take place in the second race instead. So it'll be intriguing to see how things pan out in our third and final race. Not long before the cars all grid up, and we'll be getting underway for our third and final 15-minute plus 1 lap race of the evening.
Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a race to remember. Just got a feeling. We'll see what happens, but I've just got a feeling this is going to be a good one.
Will certainly be an eventful one either way. In the meantime, I want to thank Scan1 Engine for rating. Hope all of you are having a good evening. Hope you had a good stream. And thank you for joining us for some Audi TT Trophy action here at Oulton Park. Our first round of a 6-week season. And we are just about to get underway with our third and final race of the evening. Our reverse grid 1. Let's just have a little look at not a pole setter. That'd be Johan that is on pole. Can see that Shrek livery on the front row.
You can't unsee that, can you? That's that's definitely an interesting livery. And yes, thank you very much. I just realised that I've been employed tonight as the commentator to keep it on Twitch chat, and I definitely haven't been. Ben22 Racing, Matt Holman, thank you very much for the chats. Look like Ace Fun and Jealous right now. Love the cars. Yes, and again, thank you for the raids. It has been it's a pleasure to have you all, and indeed, you want to get involved, please do so. It is discord.gg/oNiD Community Racing for our Discord server. Put that into your web browser. Be happy to see you. Come and say hi. There's the lights now. Come onto our screens for the final time this evening, final quarter of an hour race. Top 13 reverse grid is Kawasaki will lead him away as the lights go out, and away he goes. And it is great start from Kawasaki. There is able to actually just pull across onto the racing line straight away to retain that first position. As we do just lose the cameras for a brief moment as we go back to this carnage. There's a car exit stage left. That was goodness, that was Sprackwick. I've said that name completely wrong, but that was exit stage left and completely off circuit. Alfie B was now going off circuit as well. His car's maybe just going a little bit too wide there through turn 2. Keeps the point in the right direction. Drops a load of positions from what was a very good position on the grid, and it looks like he got up to 7th or 6th there as he goes through turn 2. It's now going to be a recovery drive from him. Apart from that, it looks like everything else got away reasonably well. It is Ash Hill making a move for P10 in international hairpin to go down into the chicane in the middle sector. It's Squirrel and Brenston up ahead also fighting away. Squirrel on the outside. Both of them using the push to pass. Outside becomes the inside, and then the inside becomes the outside once more for Jory as he goes through that middle sector. Has a twitch. There's contact. I think that's Ash Hill having a bit of a T-bone moment there with Squirrel, and they both get away with it somewhat as fighting happens up ahead on top of the field. As we said, it is Kawasaki gets away. His car's off the circuit. Stevie Bain going wide, making a collision with the wall, and everyone else just about skirting around. Chronoblitz having an issue, but Ugas also dropping positions as well. As it's actually DNF. He's crashed, and he's actually returned to the pits and left the server.
All action here on the first lap. Branson and Kankos going side by side towards T1. Kankos getting the better as they head into T1 now. As long as they can keep on the track, they run a little bit wide, not as wide
in the background
as Alfie, as Eden mentions in the background, but Branson actually has a run out of T1, trying to come back around the outside of Cascades, but not not able to make the move work. His field settling down a little bit, but Jacob Hine using push to pass to try and make a move to the inside of Alex Wood, sort of scares Alex Wood into leaving space and takes P3 with that. We'll go chasing after Ben Beams next. Meanwhile, the Hairpin Branson is off in the runoff towards the full international circuit, and will drop to the back of the field. Ash Hill with quite a bit of damage, looking for a move on Ben Might, looking to the inside as Ben Might was using push to pass, but Ben just about holding on with a bounce over the curbs through the chicane out of Knickerbrook. Has a run, does Ash Hill, has got themselves to all be the inside of Druids. Can Ben Might fight this one on the outside? No, it looks like he's going to slot back into line and try and stay in front of Pavot, who's not had a good start, down to 15th position, having started in P12. It's not been great for them. Alfie Bevan up into P8, as meanwhile, fight for second place. Jacob Hine using their push to pass to get up the inside of Ben Beams, and will now be trying to break away from the pack. Look at that, 7 seconds lead already for Johan Karlzak. They're not just going to win this race, they're going to dominate this as long as they don't make any mistakes. As the pack, look how tight it is, all fighting over second place.
It is anyone's game at this point. One mistake and you're probably going to be getting about 3 or 4 positions. But if you make that mistake, you're probably going to lose that and plus more, as Sean gets a nice little tap there from, I think that was Ben Beams going up and now into third. As you said, smallest mistakes, smallest contact, you go ever so slightly wide, there will be an Audi-sized car on the inside line wanting to gather that position from you.
Push to pass place to use out of the hairpin. Apparently everyone in the top 7 using their push to passes out of the hairpin there. Sean McGardle's got a good exit. It's trying to get to the inside of Shroy, trying to maybe repay the favour after the little bump at the hairpin. On the inside here, a big contact as they come through. The front wheel drive saving the cars with that huge sideways moment, and they're still wheel to wheel as they come towards the final corner. Outside Alfie Bevan to start fighting Stevie Bain as well as their compromise. More contact into the final corner, and it's a visit to barrier for Sean McGardle. Unfortunately, will get back going again, but hopefully hasn't sustained too much damage from that.
Indeed, look to maybe on the brakes, try and rejoin the racing line, not realising there was still a car on the inside, got turned around into the barrier, and that is going to be a very hard visit, a one-way ticket. They're going wide on the grass. They're going to turn these cars into lawnmowers for some reason. They're being a bit cheeky in doing so. Might get a bit of a finger wagging from post-race stewarding, but the racing will continue nonetheless, as Alfie's up into 5th, but Stevie Bain right in the background as well, as Overstreet's had an issue.
Rubbing wheels is in the braking zone. That's caused Stevie Bain to go wide into the hairpin. I think they hit one of the plastic bollards in the runoff, which has unfortunately given them some damage, as Sean McArdle also with more issues in the hairpin, dropping further down the order. Pavot now up to P10, sliding in front of Chronoblitz, as the field looking to settle down a little bit after a extremely hectic start to this third race.
Indeed, they are. They've been able to find their footing a little bit more now. They're spreading out somewhat easier, as Jacob Hine is the biggest gainer, as we see, up 12 positions, and Ash Hill actually finding even more positions from starting down the bottom of the grid from the last race results. Got damage, however. We'll try and nurse that home, as that's Ashwood. Is that P5 dropping down from Wood as well? Beaven getting past for P4, as Pavot, starting from the lower parts of the grid from the reverse results, finds itself now up into P9 as Stevie Bain loses another position, and I have a feeling that damage is causing him harm.
Yeah, seems to be really struggling, losing out to Pavot and Chronoblitz in the final sector alone. Let's go a little further back. Uri Shore trying to close up to Kankos, who they were in front of before contact with Sean McArdle, as Stevie continues to drop down the order from their damage.
Yeah, he's bleeding time at this point. It's hemorrhaging time.
And we're right on board with Shorey coming towards the chicane. Kankos closing up on Alex Wood as well, but having used their push pass on cooldown at the moment, cars in front and behind Kankos using theirs. So it's going to be a difficult run to Druids for Kankos. Yuri sure is going to find best space on the inside. Clips the grass, loses
Oh, no.
the car under braking from the grass. Finds themselves in the door of Kankos. Both of them making the gravel and will drop down places as Pavot now trying to chase down Ashhill for what is P6 after that incident.
Yep, absolutely. We'll keep an eye on that, that is for sure. As Alfie Beeman getting past Ben Beams for positions mentioned in the background. That is Corona Blitz getting quite racy with Jerry Strawer, with Pavo not too far behind Ashhill either.
Yeah. Alfie Bevan up to P3 as well. They're going to be trying to chase him down. Jacob Hine to take second place in this race. The lead might just be a little out of reach with Johan now 9.5 second lead up front. But Alfie, our race 2 winner, have still good opportunity to take second place, 2.5 seconds behind Jacob Hine. Back a little bit to this fight over P11. Kankos now in front of Ben White and Sean McGardle. We was going to say some of these cars will be damaged, but I think it's more accurate to say most of them will be damaged. I think the only one that might not be damaged is Johan at the front of the field.
Quite possibly, indeed. We'll see what they can do as they continue into that third position. Only 2 seconds now is Alfie behind Jacob Hine. But keep an eye on that, as in the background, there's a couple of cars going off. Stevie Bain and Brunston all fighting away through, going through the first chicane.
Using a push to pass to make an easy move on Ashhill to the final corner up to P6. Next car is Alex Wood to chase down just over a second up the road. Meanwhile, through the final corner, Kankos and Ben Myatt fighting, and Sean McGardle trying to take advantage, trying to claim P12 from Ben Myatt, which they do, and putting some pressure on Kankos. Well, does have their push to pass, which well, Kankos is on cooldown, but runs it in deep through turn 1. That's going to allow Ben Myatt to come back towards Cascades, but Ben going to be on the outside. Can he hang it the long way round? This left-hander, no, will slot back into line. That just holds Sean McGardle up a bit, and Kankos using their push pass again will just pull out a little bit, try and pull themselves clear as further in front. Pavot, as Ben Myatt, I think, missed their braking point and maybe collected Sean McGardle, but we go on board to Pavot, who makes a brave move down the inside of Alex Wood, and Ashhill trying to follow through here, not quite able to. Alex Wood closes the door, fending off P6 for now. How long can Alex Wood survive up there? Alfie Devon has closed the gap to Jacob Hine at the towards front of the field for P2. So we'll just have to keep an eye. They're heading towards the final corner now. Alex Wood a little bit wide out of Druids. Alfie Bevan on the push to pass over the final corner. He's going to try and make a move into T1 for P2.
Indeed they are. That's going to be move up the inside. A bit of door banging to add to that. Nothing horrible, actually. In terms of club racing, it's kind of what you expect, really, isn't it? With a bit of door banging between a couple of cars as they now go down into turn 2, now giving each other space to fight for position. As Alfie going very wide, and that's going to cost him momentum, and he'll look to regain his composure, maybe make him mount another attack with the just under 4 minutes left. Oh, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it, Scotty?
Does indeed. Alfie Bevan starting to run out of time, but does seem to be a bit quicker. Though Jacob Hine, 3 more pushed passes remaining compared to Alfie. So we'll be able to use them just a little bit more frequently to defend. Make it a little bit harder, but that's going to help Alfie close back up. Jacob Hine running wide out of Knickerbrook. And closes the gap down. As they head through Druids, a bit wide for the second apex there for Jacob Hine. Alfie getting the better exit with the slipstream as well. Will close in towards the final corner. Won't be close enough for a move here, but was turn 1 that they tried to move last lap around. Will they try one again this lap? Okay, no push to pass activating just yet. Wants to wait for a better opportunity. Further back, Ash Hill makes a move on Alex Wood for P6 and uses push to pass to cement that. But you can see Alfie Bevan, having not even used a push to pass, is right on the rear bumper of Jacob Hind. Jacob defending the inside towards Cascades. Alfie Bevan not sending it around the outside. He's going to try and get a better exit out of the corner, having compromised Jacob's line on the entry. Jacob, though, using a push to passer to defend towards the hairpin, defends the inside once again. Alfie Bevan looking to the outside, but just trying to compromise Jacob's line, and will now use the push to pass on the exit to try and get a run. Looks to the inside, but Jacob has it blocked off. Will be the outside for the first apex. A little bit of wheel banging as they come under braking. It'll be the inside for the second apex. So can Jacob hold the outside? No, will slot back into line. Alfie Bevan up into second place now. Jacob, though, with their push to pass ready. Do they use it to try and come back at Alfie? No, they hold off of it. And that looks like Alfie Bevan will be safe to run away now with second place.
Absolutely. That was cork in the bottle moment, basically, wasn't it, for Jacob? I think Alfie always had the better pace, and will get that move done up into P2. And wow, I'll say he's going to try and catch the leader. Just over 1.5 minutes, plus 1 lap to go, and a 12.5 second gap. That may not be realistic.
Jacob now using one of their push to passes, but it's a little too late as Alfie Bevan has already built out a bit of a margin and is just a little out of reach for them to come back. Let's go to Ash Hill, who's trying to close down Ben Beams with only 3 laps to go. Time is running out. Does have 1.5 seconds to close in. There was quite a bit faster last lap, where they were actually 2.5 seconds quicker. So that's a big gap. They should be able to close down Ben Beams this lap if it wasn't a mistake that slowed Ben down last lap. A little bit of rear locking from Ash Hill. Not too much of a worry on these front wheel drive cars.
Yeah, those rear tyres are just going to be dead weight for the most part. No power going to them. It's just they're just there to rotate and give the car the other 2 wheels it needs, essentially. So bit of dead weight, but you can still do a little bit to it just to make sure he can still give you some form of grip. But yeah, just a bit of dead weight for these front wheel drive cars.
Yeah, but importantly here, Ash Hill is out of push to pass in their pursuit of Ben Beams. Ben still has 2 more uses. That's going to help them just try and defend and hold on to that 5th position. You're right, sure, just behind Ash Hill as well, also has another one to use. Just used one recently on cooldown now, as Jacob Hind is keeping the pressure on Alfie Bevan. Hasn't dropped back as far as I was expecting them to.
No, they have got more push to passes. So if Alfie uses up all his push to passes on this penultimate lap and then uses up on the last lap, it might give Jacob Hind a very small window of opportunity.
Yes, so
keep an eye on that for sure. But Ash Hill here definitely getting the pace on Ben, but I have a fear that as soon as it gets close to Ben, it's going to be the case of Ben's going to push the button to use one of his push passes just to eke out the gap once more. And indeed he does, out of the hairpin.
yeah, but Ash Hill will be in the slipstream to try and stay as close as they can. Beams was wide coming out of Cascades, which really helped Ash Hill close up the gap, and was a little wide for the Apexer coming into the chicane. Now through Knickerbrick, a lot more curb used by Ash Hill as they try and keep up. It will not be an easy move without any push to pass, but it's certainly a move that they'll be looking to make for P5. They're closing in with the slipstream. Not close enough for a move into Druids. It would have been a very brave move anyway. Try and get a better exit on the exit towards the final corner. A little bit of defense of the inside. Ash Hill looks late, and Ben Beams sort of maybe looking in their mirror, runs in deep, and it's going to be side by side on the exit. No push to pass from Ben Beams to try and defend this time as they head towards T1. Advantage is still Ben Beams, but Ash Hill just has the nose alongside, is more confident on the brakes, and will get the move done. The question is, can Ben Beams use that push to pass they have remaining to try and come back, try and retake P5 on this final lap? If they start fighting, it might bring your Ishura into this to make a late move for position.
Absolutely. and we'll see what happens. We'll see also Jacob Hine dropping quite a sizable chunk to Alfie Beavers. That P2, P3 battle is now well and truly done. However, Ash Hill getting ahead of Ben Beans, and Ben Beans actually now under threat from Jory Scorer as they go down into the chicane. Not quite a overtaking opportunity here. We'll have to wait a little while longer at the very least to see if we can make a move for 6th position Jory, so we'll keep an eye on that battle. But we can say the leader themselves is now coming through the final 10 and will be a race win for Carol's. Quite a dominant race win as well. 10 seconds is a gap. Beaven was able to close the gap, but nowhere near enough to take or make a challenge for the race lead, and it is Johan Karolzak from pole takes the race win for the final time for this evening for round 1 here of the Audi TT Trophy. It will then be Alfie Beaven fighting back through the field to Jacob Hine. We'll see in the background there's a late lunge from Ben Beans trying to get past Ash Hill, but is it going to work there? And we'll come to the line. It'll be Pavo, Hill, Beams, and Scorer just as Scorer jumps up the slipstream, can't make a move work. And in the background, Chronobits trying to also make a move work, can't make it work. And it'll be Zach Silver, Kankos, Adam Ely, Ben Myatt, McCardle for 13th and 14th. Brenston, Overstreet, Bain, and I can't say that pit name in 18th. My mind is having a bit of a meltdown trying to read that name. But I believe his name is Alan, I do believe. Alan in 18th? I can't remember the first name. Adam in 18th. I'm going to just call him Adam. It's much more simpler. Sorry, Adam. Stevie Bain, as we watch, see Adam take the checker flag actually a lap down, and Stevie Bain has a very unfortunate last lap incident and spins the car around on the brakes. And then we'll see the checkered flag in 17th. What a race for Steve. What could have been, unfortunately, getting caught up in some of the incidents early on in the race. And I think he's just trying to spin it on purpose now, but that front wheel drive is saying, no, you can't do that. What are you talking about? As that is round 1 done and dusted. Well, that's a thumbnail opportunity there. As all the cars have now seen checker flag, bar P19, who's unfortunately disconnected from the server. But that is first 3 races of race 1 done and dusted. It's Karolzak who led from pole and won that race to Beaven, to Hine, to Pavo, Hill, Beams, Scorer, Wood, Chronoblitz, Silver, Kankos, Ely, Myatt, McArdle, Brenston, Overstreet, Bain, Adam, and Bedovas for the final positions of our 19-car grid. What a round 1 to kick off AC.
What a round indeed. That was very chaotic. I was expecting some carnage in the reverse grid race, but I wasn't expecting it to come in the previous race.
No.
Boy, that was very chaotic.
It was indeed. That's club racing for you. Anything can happen, and especially when the cars are very similar performance, you'll often find that, but especially in real life as well, you'll see that with club racing and one spec racing as well. We're at Oulton Park this week. Next week, however, we will be back at the same time and the same place for round 2. Another 3 races at Knock Hill. Just because front-wheel drive club racing isn't enough, elevation, that roller coaster from turn 1 down to turn 3 and back up the hill again, is going to be a task for these front-wheel drive cars.
Yeah, it's going to be a task, but it's going to be great fun to see them bouncing over the curbs. I think we'll see plenty of mistakes, people just running a bit wide into the gravel in cases. But yeah, it should be very, very exciting, very interesting. Should be some great racing once again. But yeah, that's then we get Road Atlanta, a little bit more open, a little bit more space for the drivers to race. So hopefully we'll see a bit cleaner racing. Watkins Glen as well, very high speed circuit. Should be very interesting to see the cars. Then we get a little bit tighter, a little bit more technical with Zolder and Club Motorsports as well. Club Motorsports, a new track for us this season. Which is great to have the diversity. Some great tracks that we're very used to, and a new one as well to keep things interesting for the final round. But yeah, should be very, very interesting of the for the final, for the rest of the season.
Indeed, it will. Folks, it has been the utmost pleasure to bring you tonight's race, and we're very pleased that AC was still on the calendar. However, we do have a week's worth of racing here for season 6. We've already had our Monday LMU Championship, the LMLS Series. Today we just had the Assetto Corsa Audi TT Trophy. LMU tomorrow for SimHound Academy on our Wednesday night worth of racing. Thursday, iRacing Club Challenge, more club racing on a Thursday, bringing back those Mazda MX-5 club cars. And then Sunday is the return of Assetto Corsa Competizione back in the game championship on Sunday. Good to see ACC back within oNiD. So do. Oh, sorry, carry on.
So I was going to say, it's good indeed to see ACC's not been around for a good 3 seasons now. So yeah, great to see it back. Yeah, great calendar. Looking forward to. But that's going to do us for this evening. Oh, looking forward to rest of the week. You're back tomorrow for the
Back tomorrow, yes. It's me, myself, and I believe Tyler for tomorrow, do you believe? Bringing you all the action from the academy, which will be wonderful to see on LMU. So a bit of American flavour to our stream tomorrow, with Tyler being across the pond, coming into the Commons booth. But we'll be back on Thursday, won't we? No, it won't be us. You're all doing Wednesdays now, aren't you? I'm covering for you. It'll be iRacing with a new voice in the Commons booth with myself on Thursday. We look forward to welcoming our newest commentator to the team, and that is oh, excuse me. Oh, just started to cough there. Will be Kurashine, who is our real life name is. Oh goodness, I forgot. I've drawn a blank. That's awful of me. That is shocking behaviour. Just a new voice, another American in the Commons booth on Thursday, so it'll be
Jack Page.
Good. Jared Page, thank you. I was thinking John, but I know it wasn't right.
You got the J right.
I got the J right. Jared Page joining us on Thursday for iRacing, and then on Sunday it will be we're not streaming Sundays. Sundays, unfortunately, not having a com slot for this season. But Sunday is all racing, and ACC is back on a Sunday, so do be involved. Do come and do get involved in the championship. I still believe there are some spaces left for Sundays, but unfortunately, just purely down to stream availability, Sundays won't be there with us on Twitch. But racing will still happen. Do get involved, and as I said in the Discord, there is a Discord link. It's just been posted in the Discord chat. So you're watching live or want to watch this back, that link should appear in the Twitch chat. However, if you do want to type it in, it is discord.gg/oNiD community racing. The link in the chat will also take you there as well. Come to our Discord, say hi, come and pester us. It'll be wonderful to see you, and see you also get involved within our championships. One-off events also being organised here, there and everywhere, so keep an eye out for announcements on that. And join us on SimGrid, our racing community on SimGrid, where all of our sign-ups are being organised. Do get yourself signed up. Come and be part of the SimGrid community as well.
That's going to do it for this evening. Thank you all very much for joining us once again. We hope we'll see you throughout Season 6 as we run up to the end of the year. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you back, whether it be for tomorrow or Thursday, hopefully next week at least. Until then, take care, have a good rest of your week, and we will see you next time. Good night.
Good night.